we from Adjust, we do mobile attribution analytics, if you haven't heard about us already. And we've been receiving, in the last couple of months, increasing amounts of interest in looking into doing TV campaigns for ads, direct response, and trying to figure out how, obviously our clients are people who care a lot about their BI systems, they care a lot about the performance of the campaigns, and they're very, very good at looking into exactly what's working, what's not working, and that's what they're using our solution for. And so they ask us, how do we do this on TV? This is a completely new dimension. We don't have any impressions, we don't have any clicks, we have nothing to go on, except what happens inside of people's heads. Unfortunately, we can't quite track what goes on in people's heads so far, but there are a few solutions out there, and so I've invited Christoph, who's been running some very successful TV campaigns for Lieferando, which is by far, well, let's say one of the two major sites in Germany, and which, you would say the major site in Germany in which you order food in Germany.
Always, also when we were smaller. I'm founder of Lieferando, sold to takeaway.com last year. We process around gross sales of close to $1 billion this year. And we, at one point, we discovered that we can grow with the normal online channels just to a certain point. So I'm not native English like most of you guys probably.
I'll be translating for you, don't worry about that.
I'm the German. So at one point we figured out, or we came to a point where we said, okay, spending in online across web and mobile is way too expensive. So we decided, okay, what we're going to do? We're going to do TV. And first of all, we started doing TV, and it was super, super expensive, and nothing happened. And then I sat down with a friend of mine and said, okay, how do you solve that? He was doing a lot of consulting for mobile and web companies. And he said, yeah, I'm having the same problem. We're doing a lot of Excel sheets. There's it's kind of a religious questions, how do you do track TV, kind of what you said, it's what do you do? And then we said, okay, let's figure out a solution that comes closer to the truth. We will never get the truth, but we will get there in some way, or have something closer to the truth. So then we started a company which was called RapidApe, which we sold 8 weeks ago to ProSiebenSat.1, one of the biggest German television networks, and targeted that problem for 3 years. And I also, disclaimer, I'm an investor into Adjust. So the connection was there, that we said, okay, let's work together, let's find a solution how we can make TV a bit more trackable, especially for mobile apps, than what normal people do, or what the rest of the market is doing.
So when you started, you started running TV ad campaigns for Lieferando when, roughly? A couple of years ago?
2.5 years ago.
Yeah, and it went shit to start with.
Super shit.
And so
we were sitting there, we were spending lots of TV money, when is something happening? And nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Okay, today something's happening.
And so what were you trying to achieve? We were trying to get people to download your app?
No, at the beginning we went the normal approach, said, okay, big creative agency, some really cool spot, and got professional media planners in. That's your target group. That's how you have to target. And we're like, okay, whatever. Let's try. And it was my first company, so I had some experience. But when we started our company, I didn't even know there was Just Eat. So my research was pretty shitty. And we actually had the idea to expand to Cologne in 2013, like the year we got our first acquisition offer. So our planning was pretty poor, and our research also. And then we looked at the numbers, and they were shit. So we said, okay, let's kick the agency out. Let's do everything in-house. And we started developing a TV commercial, or I started developing a TV commercial with an intern of us who wanted to learn After Effects. So we created that commercial, which intern did of us, and then we put a guy from our call center to do the voiceover. But we booked a professional audio, what's it called, a sound studio, recording studio, which was next door, and we got them some pizza for free, and they did the recording.
Sounds like an MVP anyway.
It was an MVP, and so the pizza cost us 500 euros in total. And that spot is still running. It's our most successful spot ever. and we spend over 50 million euros in TV spending on a spot that cost us literally 500 euros.
So there you have it.
If you put 400 euros into a salary on top, it's 900.
That's basically how you do it. If you want a good ad, you just pay someone pizza, and that's how it works out, right?
No, it's a quite good way to bribe people because pizza is such a commodity product. But may like dating.
If we then get into the base tracking, shall we say? Okay, and we have zero idea of what we're getting out of these TV ads.
Shall we start clicking?
Let's start clicking and let's get some of these charts on here.
What's the next slide is okay. I prepared something.
We've chatted about this, but you got some really nice graphs in there.
Okay, that's what you said. Let's stick to it a bit. So what we saw was, you talked about TV. What we also saw on a long-time perspective, that brand recognition went through the roof, and we got approached by different companies saying, hey, you do TV, you must be fucking big. And we're like, yeah, of course we're big. This is our conference room, which is also our intern's office. So actually TV does a lot for you except from just downloads. So I think you cannot separate it. It gives you a different level of trust. Problem with TV, of course, what you said, it's what adds to air. Missing transparency and lack of performance indicators. So that's what has been mentioned before, and that's also what we found. Nobody figured out. That's why we started a company. And that's on the very, very left side, you see the first advertisement. Looks a bit shitty on the screenshot, but if you look at it now, it's really shitty. Also, we paid way too much money for a shitty ad. And then you see what our intern did. We used to be red. The orange is our new corporate color. And that's the quality of the ad. That's 50 million euros TV spend. And in the background, you see that's how we started doing our first analytics with Excel sheets. And if you just think about how much possibilities you have different ads, creatives you can do, you have different times, you have different target groups, you have different programs. And the Super Bowl ad is a good example in Germany. I think you have it here too, like Germany's Next Top Model, which everyone is watching. And all the TV stations say you have to go in there to build your brand, and you book it and it costs you 30,000 euros net. You're like, poof. And now nothing happens. So we started looking into using RapidApe. I think that's here. We started using RapidApe, and we've actually figured out that the TV programs that worked best for us were the ones. It's not sure if you have it, but Germany is really good with shitty TV. And it's like cops on the Autobahn getting the people out to speed. And you can watch that for 1 hour.
So you're looking for people who are very, very bored, basically.
No, it's like cop documentaries, or we have this like a private version of BBC, or like a news channel where after 6 o'clock in the evening you say Hitler's biggest warships. Or the Nazi machine, like all these kind of weird 1 hour, 45-minute documentaries about the biggest rockets, the most dangerous snakes, and probably you have something like that. So that works best for us, and it only costs us 100 euro to air that spot. And that's what we found with RapidApe. So we moved away. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. We moved away from a basic approach of saying 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, and just looked at a very short-term engagement and an ROI on a spot level. So we moved to individual calculation of impact time at RapidApe. So we got a guy in who did a lot of trading, built trading algorithms. So we actually looked at each single spot on the impact time of that spot instead of just saying, because that gives you a very different picture. Also included baseline traffic on that hour on that day, on the weekday, because on Sunday, for example, we do 70% of our sales between 5 o'clock in the evening and 7:30. So in 2.5 hours, it just ramps up. If you would create a baseline there. Is that you?
We seem to have some slight audio problems. God knows where it's coming from. We'll try.
I think that's you. That's me. Sorry. So we had the problem that traffic was ramping up at that time. So if you would create a baseline, it would fuck up your whole calculation.
You certainly couldn't look at, let's say, the average of a certain day. That would never work.
That would never work, and the average of a 10-minute slot wouldn't work because at 5 o'clock it just goes. You can actually see the traffic ramping up.
So the impact times here are what exactly? How would you define the impact time of an ad?
It's pretty much like by our calculation, it looks at the base traffic, and I'll have a chart there in a second. It looks at the base traffic you have, but not the base traffic as a flat line. And then you have the exact, and that's where we're coming from here. We used just the exact time of the airing to start to calculate the impact time. And we used a few selectors. We have, I think, 28 at RapidApe in the end. And we got these from Adjust. Sort of, is it an organic install? Is it coming from wireless or 3G? Is it a reinstall, new install? Where's the IP address coming from? We also got MAC addresses of the router, and that all was mixed to a probability if that download is a TV download or not. Basic idea, we used the MAC addresses because we had organic downloads, but if you can get all the MAC addresses from all the public routers in airports, for example, so you can already deduct them, because the chances that somebody logs into wireless in the airport, watching your ad, downloading, seeing TV, is probably not happening. Somebody with a foreign IP address downloading your app in the same time slot, not happening. Chances are that someone downloading your app organically coming from using it over wireless is much higher because he sits at home, watches your ad. Most people have wireless in their home by now. And then we have the historic download behavior as a baseline and not a flat baseline, what you see here. That's just an example. Sorry for the coloring and if you don't see it, but what you see is the red, that's the normal approach that people do. So you start at some point and you have a flat baseline. And how we did it was we calculated the probability that these green downloads are actually app downloads triggered by TV. And in a technical setup, it looked like this, that Adjust, I'm not sure if they're still doing it at Lieferando because I'm out for 1 year now, but Adjust was sending us all the installs, all the information we requested to RapidApe. RapidApe calculated in real time the probability of that download being an app download. Then RapidApe pushed it back into Adjust in real, milliseconds afterwards. Adjust then pushed it into our Lieferando BI system. We had it in our data warehouse, and then used ClickView to calculate the. I can send you the PDF. No need to do 2 pictures. So then we got it all into ClickView, calculated and did our own assumptions. So nobody can take that away nobody can tell you what your truth is, because your business is probably all very, very different. And so you still have to use your brain in the end. And I think there's no tool with TV that can actually help you or give you the 100% solution. It just helps you make different assumptions. And then you got happiness. There you see, these are cohorts from TV. Sorry, I couldn't show you the numbers on the X and Y. But you see very different order behavior depending on the ads and on the time slots we aired them. This is not taking into account the cost per acquisition. So some areas were more expensive to get app installs from, like Germany's Next Top Model would be expensive, maybe good cohorts, but looking at the cost per acquisition, it wouldn't still work. So basically, yeah, that's just a screenshot from our ClickView dashboard, which we built to do TV tracking and to do an analysis. We then kicked out all the media planning companies, or we didn't use Nielsen whatsoever. We just used that to give us a proper media plan and didn't listen to any. But you're really strong in young guys who like watching Biggest Snakes in Australia, but you're really poor with girls who like to do home shopping. Then we said, okay, that's fine, but we don't care because it doesn't work for us. And we actually decreased over, I think, a matter of 3 months,
months, we decreased the cost per install by 70%. That's quite good, I think.
What I think is very interesting is that when I talk to people,
We see what else is that.
yeah, it's definitely something there on. But what I think is super interesting is that what I've heard from people in Germany is that the Germans have been very, very far ahead on doing TV ads for, let's say, IT product or for websites or for web apps or so on and so forth, right? And perhaps compared to many other markets as well. What I think is interesting about your efforts here is that it's obviously not a very simplistic model. I mean, you start with nothing, and then you slowly sort of build yourself up to looking at all of these different factors. And I think probably from what the majority of people are doing today is this very initial approach in which you look at, okay, what's the bump, what's the normal baseline of installs that I get, and then I expect, right around the time of the spot, I expect a big bump, because I expect people to very rapidly, within a short time frame, download the app from a certain region or a certain area. But you found pretty quickly that didn't really work for you.
Yeah, the problem is with that, if you get the time, you get the airing times in real time, and we developed that, we could recognize 60,000 different commercials in real time to actually find what kind of spot it was. We could actually see if the spot is, if competitive spots are affecting your download behavior, your organic download behavior. Sorry, I'll just leave that for a second. Okay, I didn't mean guys. And what you see is you actually spend a lot of time reanalyzing all the assumptions. You get the TT areas maybe a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later. That affects your performance and the way you can steer your performance. You don't have the data in your BI, because at that point you really have to do device fingerprinting. So I have to get that 4-week-old data to match in your old install, like in your BI, push that, set a marker. Crazy. The time you spend for like a normal BI guy sitting there just analyzing TV, good guy costs you, I don't know, 4, 5, 6,000 euros. It's getting crazy expensive. And if that guy's on holiday and his junior takes it over and thinks, oh, I have a different approach, let's try this, that's the only thing to
And so what I think is interesting is that there's a bit of let's say, a clash between these kind of very high-powered BI type guys that know exactly what they're doing, they're very good at doing performance tracking on the proper digital ads. They come to this TV world in which 4 weeks to get essential airing data is considered normal. I think that's a very interesting approach right now. I think we'll see maybe people running TV or TV agencies get a little bit better at this, but I also think that there's a space for companies like Rapid that specialize exactly in figuring this particular part of the puzzle out.
Specialized
Stuff, exactly, right.
And you can see the shift because they bought us for the technology, bought us for the technology, and so they know they have a problem. They see all these HBO, Netflix, Amazon Prime popping up everywhere, so they know they have to react. Yeah, I think it's, well, at least I can say in Germany, like Springer, ProSieben, and Eins, they're actually ramping up their digital efforts quite significantly. And we'll see how it goes.
So I think we're out of time, Andy, but we'll just wrap up. If you're curious about more of this stuff, we'll be right outside.